years now, deckhanding, coxswain, and then moved up, and now I'm a master less than 24 metres, and today I'm driving a tug. We assist the James Craig off its wharf in Darling Harbour for him to go out to sea, and we help it come back on the wharf later on. So the Heritage Fleet, I think it is a very important part of Sydney. It's one of Sydney's intangibles. It's something you can't put a price on. Think Taronga Zoo. That's an intangible asset to Sydney. The Opera House is an intangible asset to Sydney. Things that enrich life and the way people regard where they live are important things to have. And we need to stay up Rozelle Bay because that's how the maritime industry functions in Sydney. The other operators up there, our neighbours, they're the ones who repair the wharves, they're the ones who move the barges around for fireworks displays. They make the harbour work. And while people love to think there's not that much shipping on the harbour anymore, there is quite a bit. There's the big cruise liners come in, tankers into Gore Cove are regulars, ferries need moving around from time to time. So the maritime world is very important to Sydney. It's what the city is rooted in, and we need to stay.
My name's John Simpson. I've been involved with the Heritage Fleet since 2005 in a variety of positions, lots of different volunteering positions: stoker, riveter, deckhand, fundraiser. The fleet is very special to me, and I think to other people. I spent 7 years as general manager of the place and tried to find something like it anywhere else in the world. I couldn't. It doesn't exist. The organisation is actually unique on a worldwide basis, and we do some absolutely stunning things with a lot of ordinary people, and I'm not disparaging any of the Heritage Fleet members by saying that.
Congratulations folks, third attack. Give yourselves a round of applause.
I'm Andy Munns. I've been here basically since I could drive. I remember driving down here with a fresh licence. Different sites back then. We've been on a range of sites on Sydney Harbour. This is the current site. It's a very important site. It's been a very busy day for us. I look after a lot of technical aspects, but I also look after inductions. And this morning's induction was with a young fellow, 17 years old, and very much I've been there before experience because I started when I was 17, some years ago now. What I've also done is worked on the technical aspects of restoration and operation. We looked at recreating a lot of traditional skills. We had to teach ourselves riveting and plate work. We've had to teach ourselves, in many cases, coal firing, steam engine operation. The people that once operated these ships have sadly all passed, and Sydney Heritage Fleet is the place where we retain and teach and practice those skills. There is nowhere else really in Australia today that continues this sort of work. Sydney Heritage Fleet is basically the only organisation that looks at marine steam at this level.
My name is Ian Roy. I'm a fleet member here, been here for 15 years. I've recently been appointed a director on the board, but basically we're here to rebuild ships that are the best part of 100, 120 years old, and to do that we use the skills of basically retired people who have been in the industry, or in a lot of cases not in the industry, but we train people to do repair work on ships that you can't buy spare parts for anymore. The ships are all very old and you can't run down the corner store and buy a spare part anymore. So in essence we have to rebuild or repair what's already there. Here we have a steering wheel or a helm off one of our vessels that was lost some time ago, and what's happened here is that this has been totally rebuilt and it's ready for some machining in the core of this machine to fit back on the vessel. Here is another example of the sorts of things we do here. This is a binnacle off one of the vessels that we have on site, and this has been totally rebuilt by one of our volunteers, and he's done this at home. He's taken the whole lot home and rebuilt it totally.
My name's Pi. I've been sailing on this ship for about 3 years now, and I started when I knew absolutely nothing, and now I am the topman majority of the time. So climbing all over the ship and dealing with all of the bunts and all that sort of stuff. I've really enjoyed all of my time here, meeting lots of new friends and, you know, coaxing more people to come on board and join the crew and the fleet. And I've been able to learn so many new skills and stuff that I wouldn't have been exposed to anywhere else. All the old world techniques and skills that you don't use anymore on modern ships. And it's really good to keep that history alive and make sure that it's more wildly spread so that it doesn't die out.
The Kangangra was built in 1912 for the Sydney Ferry Company. It was one of 5 ferries that were built for the Circular Quay to Mossman Bay run, and it was one of 2 ferries that were built with a steel hull. All of the other ferries were built with a timber hull. Kangangra, the name is actually an Aboriginal and it means beautiful view. Kangangra started in 1913 and was decommissioned in 1983. She operated for 70 years. She's operated through the First World War, the Depression, the opening of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the Second World War. Sydney Heritage Fleet were given this ferry in 1986-87 and has been waiting its turn to be restored on the Heritage Dock. The dock was built for the James Craig restoration. That was completed. Next thing came along was the John Oxley restoration. When it was completed, 2022, the John Oxley was removed from the dock and the Kangangra was placed on the dock. The Kangangra will in fact be restored by volunteers within the fleet, and she is going to be, it'll take around about 15 years to restore it. Once she's restored, she will be put back into historic cruising operation or as a static display item and be able to represent Sydney ferries in the history of Sydney Harbour.
G'day, my name's Gordon Robertson. I've been with the fleet about 11 or 12 years now. Joined here not long after I retired. The object was to keep myself busy and to do something which was useful. And I get a hell of a kick out of doing this. There's a sense of achievement when we get something going. You look at this craft, for example. She was just a patchwork quilt. Now she's looking more like a proper ship. And next year she'll be a finished proper ship. So we're all looking forward to that. A lot of work to do. I spend my time doing timber door frames, building toilets and washrooms, refurbishing portholes, fitting metalwork as need be. In this harbour, with the way it's been going now, we're rapidly losing the working parts of this harbour. And this area around here is pretty well all that's left. You take this away, one, we'll have nowhere to live, we'll have nowhere for our boats, you'll have nowhere for the infrastructure of the harbour to be maintained. people with their large yachts will have nowhere where they can park them or get them fixed. And this is, like I said, the remains of the working harbour. If we don't have this, where will our organisation go? There is not that many places in the world that do what we do. And to look after this many boats and to run them, make them work, as our motto says, we're a museum that goes to sea. Our ships are all seaworthy, and we take great pride in that. And all the volunteers, there's a lot of people involved in looking after these things and rebuilding them. Just think, what are all those old parts going to do if you take this away?
Thank you.